Hello, dear friends. Welcome to this program, our Moments with God, where I share with you my simple and humble reflections on the daily Mass readings and sometimes on the lives of saints if they fall on the Catholic calendar, with the hope that this will help you and me in our spiritual journey and in our search for the divine and in establishing a relationship and eventually at a deeper level, even friendship with God. And if you're interested to subscribe to this channel, you may please do it now. By the way, someone pointed out to me that some viewers think that they have to pay for subscription. Actually, no, that's wrong information. You just have to click at the end of the video on my picture. There you will find an option to subscribe. You don't have to pay anything. You just have to click on subscribe and you will be able to do that. And if you like the video, you may please also share it with others so that others also take advantage of it. Thank you. Yesterday I had spoken to you about how Saint Camillus, who was an addict with gambling and other things, got converted and dedicated his life to serve the sick and even founded a religious order, the order to take care of the sick. Yes. And today, interestingly, I have taken another background, this big church where I have come to help out a priest. And today is my last day here, actually, after having spent 4 weeks in another town here in Austria called Wels. And I'll be leaving from here tomorrow afternoon. But the reason I have chosen this church in the background is because of the reading today. I will just do the reading first from the Gospel, though the first reading from the book of Isaiah is also very nice, but then it may get very long, but maybe I will return to that. The reading from the Gospel is like this. Jesus was going through a field of grain on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry and began to pick the heads of grain and eat them. When the Pharisees saw this, they said to him, "See, your disciples are doing what is unlawful to do on the Sabbath." He said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? How he went into the house of God and ate the bread of offering, which neither he nor his companions, but only the priests could lawfully eat? Or have you not read in the law that on the Sabbath, the priests serving in the temple violate the Sabbath and are innocent? If I say to you, something greater than the temple is here, if you knew what this meant, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned these innocent men, for the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. Actually, if you remember, last week also we had a similar reading but from another gospel. And as you know, these three synoptic gospels overlap with each other, and sometimes you find the same gospel with slight differences. And sometimes I worry that when I do these daily reflections, sometimes there would be overlapping of the gospel and I may not have something new to say. This is my fear, but of course it is the Holy Spirit who inspires us and lets us speak His word and explain His word so that people take advantage of that. Now, this is what last week too the reading was, where Jesus had concluded, "Go and see the meaning of I desire mercy nor sacrifice." And if you had read this, you would not have condemned these innocent men. So the reason, as I said, why I have chosen the building of the church in the background, because it is sometimes some of the representatives of the church who make it very difficult for people, and people get put off with the church. They stop going to church. Particularly here in the West, you find that a lot of people get put off with a slight thing that the priest may say, or they get offended very easily. But I also know that there are other representative of the church, sometimes bishops, sometimes priests, sometimes nuns, who may be harsh with people or who may be always pointing only to the rules and regulations of the church, and somehow actually make it difficult for people to practice their faith in God. And Jesus is reminding those people, as well as those who want to act very strict with the rules and regulations, that for God these little laws and things are not that important. They are important, but not to the extent that people go hungry. See, his disciples were hungry. That's why they they did something unlawful on the Sabbath, as Jesus himself did when he wanted to cure people, and he asked people, "Is it lawful to save life or to destroy life on Sabbath?" So naturally, the natural thing is to save life, to help somebody. And that is what Jesus is trying to emphasize, that if you only emphasize on the law at the cost of ignoring people's needs, and where people might need your help or help of the church, then your observation of the law is useless. Yes, laws are meant, as Jesus said at another place, that he himself is the Lord of the Sabbath, and that Sabbath is made for man and not man is made for Sabbath. That means the needs of human beings and the perspective of the Lord is more important than this rules and regulations, which of course guide our life to do the right thing, but not against life. When people need help, they are supposed to be helped, even if it is Sabbath. And therefore this word, which I mentioned also last week, go and learn the meaning of "I desire mercy and not sacrifice." Mercy it is, which is very important. Maybe some other day we will come across the other gospel of the Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan, who, of course, we will talk later about it, but let me just mention again the meaning of this, that those Samaritans were despised. There were two other priests who passed by, Levi, who passed by and ignored that man who was beaten up and who was lying. They ignored him because they had to go to the church, or to the synagogue to pray. What did Jesus show by that example of the Samaritan? That that person who was beaten up and was lying was more important for uh, the person than going to, at that moment, to pray or to worship. And I suppose this is a message for all of us. And I'm sure you have got the message. I desire mercy and not sacrifice. And if you would like to subscribe to this channel, you may please do it now. I wish you all the very best. Thank you.